Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle something interesting, an idea about morality and effort that might just flip how you think about being a good person.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question I think we've all asked ourselves at some point. Have you ever just felt tired? Tired of trying to be good? It feels like this constant uphill battle. So, why is that?
So the source we're looking at today uses this really great analogy. It compares our moral life to like farming. And think about it. The moral weeds, the selfishness, the quick temper, they just pop up without any effort at all, right? They're spontaneous. But the moral wheat, kindness, patience, doing the right thing, man, that feels like hard work. It's a strenuous, constant effort.
And that really nails the feeling, doesn't it? It's like you're constantly rowing upstream. It is so easy to just slip, to let the current take you. But climbing, getting better, that takes so much energy. And honestly, it's no wonder we get exhausted just trying to be good.
But what if that whole struggle, what if that's not the full picture? What if we've been looking at this whole being good thing completely backwards? See, the source suggests there are actually two totally different kinds of good people out there.
First up, you've got what's called the strained singer, and we've all met this person, right? It's the person where you can just see the effort. Goodness is this painful, labored thing for them. They're obsessed with all the things they shouldn't be doing, and you can practically feel the tension. Yeah, they're doing the right thing, but it's not beautiful, it's just hard.
But then you have the master violinist. And this is something else entirely. This is the person whose goodness just seems to pour out of them. It's spontaneous, it's joyful, it feels like it's just who they are. They're not trying, they're just being. And their goodness, it's absolutely beautiful to watch.
So you've got these two people, right? The strained singer and the master violinist. And that contrast brings us to this really powerful, maybe even kind of radical question. What if you could actually go from one to the other? What if there's a secret to being good without all the trying?
Okay, so what is the secret? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The source gives us an answer that doesn't just solve the problem, it completely reframes it. It's not about trying harder at all. It's about something totally different.
The clue is found in this really old piece of text. And I want you to listen really closely to the key phrase here, are transformed. See that? It doesn't say transform yourselves. It's passive. It's something that happens to you.
And that's the whole ball game right there. The big idea is that this kind of deep change, this transformation, isn't something you achieve by gritting your teeth and using more willpower. Nope. It's something that happens to you when you're exposed to some kind of outside influence. You are changed, not by straining, but by reflecting. This paraphrase really drives the point home. Think of yourself as a mirror. A mirror doesn't try to create an image, it just reflects what's in front of it. And that's the idea here. We become like whatever we consistently look at, what we admire, what we surround ourselves with. The change happens almost on its own, as a natural result of where our focus is.
Okay, so if it's not about trying harder, then how does this actually work, in the real world? How do we go from being that strained singer to the master violinist?
The core principle is actually super simple, and it's this. We grow to be like what we live with. Think about that. The best parts of who we are, our best qualities, they often aren't developed through sheer force of will. They're caught, like a contagion, but a good one, from the people and the ideas we keep close.
There's a story in the source material that just illustrates this perfectly. Picture this. A 10-year-old boy has just been in a terrible accident, run over by a truck. He's badly hurt, and as you can imagine, he is absolutely terrified.
So he's lying there, in pain, waiting for the doctors to arrive, and he looks over at his mother sitting right beside him. He's looking for a clue, right? A reflection of how he's supposed to feel, and he asks her this one simple question.
And in that moment, his mother, who must have been terrified herself, she just gathers herself. She looks him straight in the eye, and with this incredible calm, she tells him,
And his response is immediate. Well, then, I will not be either. And just like that, the fear is gone. Now think about that. He didn't try to be brave. He didn't grit his teeth or tell himself, be strong. He just caught courage from her. It was a transformation by reflection. Incredible.
And you see this same exact idea playing out in classic literature. Take a character like Silas Marner.
The guy was a bitter, isolated miser. He didn't just wake up one day and decide, you know what, I'm going to be a better person. No way. What happened? A child, this external influence, was literally left on his doorstep. And it was this new companionship, this love, that lured him out of his own darkness. He was changed by something, not by his own will.
So all of this, it brings us to a really crucial point about willpower. We all tend to think of willpower as, our main moral muscle, but the source material argues that it has some very real and honestly kind of surprising limits.
To really hammer this home, the source gives us this fascinating and pretty stark contrast between two figures, Judas and Paul. The argument is that Judas's betrayal, that wasn't just a single bad choice, a one-time failure of will. It was the accumulated result of all the dark thoughts and mental images he'd been living with for a long, long time. So when the crisis hit, his will was just powerless against that tide. On the flip side, you have Paul. His incredible capacity for love wasn't something he just summoned up in the moment. It was spontaneous because it was the accumulated result of the divine companionship he had been cultivating for years.
And here's the kicker, what this means for you and me. It means our daily inspirations, the stuff we choose to think about, the people we admire, the ideas we focus on, that is what's really shaping who we become. Because when a real moment of crisis comes, it's not our willpower that's going to save the day. It's the accumulated weight of everything we've been reflecting on, day in and day out.
So where does all this leave us? Let's bring it all together for a final, powerful takeaway. When you boil it all down, we really have two tools in our toolbox for building a good character. You've got your willpower. And look, it's important for sure, but its reach is limited. But then you have this other thing, your capacity for inspiration. And the argument here is that this is the real powerhouse. It is by far the more effective, more transformative force.
And that leaves us with one last kind of provocative question to think about, because at the end of the day, the world is going to find out. The results will be obvious. What we choose to live with, what we reflect on day after day, that is what will eventually bubble up and define who we are. So the question is, what are you reflecting?